My reason for being born in this world is to help inventors see that you can be outside an industry and still completely change that industry. And that brings me back to Alex Gomez, the client of mine who dropped out of medical school to pursue his idea. So when Alex, and here he is again, when he came to my office, he came in and he dropped this crude prototype on the corner of my desk. And he said, "John, I don't care what the other doctors tell me about my idea." And what his idea was, he realized that in the operating room, doctors would take the surgical instrument, they'd dip it inside a bucket of water to rinse it off when the lens got too foggy, and then they would put it back inside the patient, the instrument, and this would cause infections. It was septic. It went against everything Alex was taught, but they ridiculed him. They called him a dropout for leaving medical school. They said he never completed his residency, and how would he know what the best way is to prevent infections in an operating room? But he put this crude contraption, I still remember it like it was yesterday, he put it on the corner of my desk. He said, "John, I don't care what the doctors tell me. I don't care if they call me a dropout. My device is going to change the way surgical camera lenses work in the operating room. You have to fight and get this patent for me." And I did. And 2 years after I filed that patent, Alex sold his idea for over $100 million, actually $115 million. And today, his device has changed the way surgeries are conducted in operating rooms. And it has been used in over 1 million surgeries. Now here's that quote again that you've seen. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, and then they fight you. Well, you know what? I held back on you guys. This is not the full quote. This is the full quote. Then you win. Then you win. We give ourselves these fancy names for not pursuing our dreams. We tell ourselves that our dreams are out of reach. We use terms like unrealistic and not practical. I'm an engineer, so we do things like a cost-benefit analysis, convincing ourselves that the cost of our dreams are too high, and that the safer approach, the more prudent, rational approach, is to just put our heads to the grindstone and keep a regular job like everybody else. Like that's what I was told when I wanted to start my own firm. But you know what? The greatest fear, what they say, the greatest loss is not death. We are all going to die one day. The greatest loss is dying with that unfulfilled dream still suffocating inside you. So for those of us that are listening, we have plenty, over 45 minutes for Q&A. We're going to go over questions, but what I want you to keep in mind is that anyone that has successfully brought a product to market and has changed an industry, it's not just knowledge itself that's going to make the difference. There has to be, you have to have a thick skin. You have to be able to overcome the obstacles and the naysayers and the people that doubt whether your idea even has potential. Because when you bring something else to market, you're embarrassing a lot of industry leaders because they didn't think of it. And like Alex Gomez, he embarrassed doctors, he embarrassed medical staff, he embarrassed hospitals and colleges because they should have been the ones that developed this lens defogger, not somebody who dropped out of medical school who saw passion, who passionately pursued his idea. And that's what they don't want to see. So as long as the listeners keep that in mind, we're now ready for Q&A. And that's, we have plenty of time. I don't know whether I saw plenty of questions coming in, Giovanni. So if you want to take it from here.